Although we're gonna make this intro quick because the dryer is running and I don't want you to have to deal with noise. I'm gonna do a little vlog of the day and maybe tomorrow, depending on how it goes. It is Realmathon and it is middle grade March, and so I want to try a bunch of middle grade books that have been on my TBR for a while. So I do have one right now that I did read the first couple pages of yesterday and I didn't get into it, but that's okay. But I'm gonna make a run to a library to pick up, I think 4 or 5 more. But first, the books I'm returning to the library. These two I read this week, finally. This one I really want to read sometime soon, but I've had this copy for almost 3 months, so I'm gonna return it and get a new one because I'm pretty sure they have multiple. Yeah, I'm gonna head to the library and then I'll be back to try some books. Alright, I've decided to be short today for some reason and sit on the ground instead of pulling my chair over. I'm back from the library and let me show you what I got. First of our middle grades is Green Glass House by Kate Milford. This is a middle grade mystery that I'm really excited about. I think Leanne directed it, so that's a newer TBR edition. This is a much older one, The Danger Box by Blue Bellier. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I reread a Blue Bellier book that was one of my favorites from when I was actually in the target age range, and then I read the second book in her series, which I still haven't finished, so I should probably get that book, but this is just another book that she wrote that is also a mystery. So yeah, excited about that. Next we have another newer addition to my TBR that is middle grade. This is Anya and the Dragon. This is a fantasy, I believe, and I believe the main character is Jewish, which I love a Jewish fantasy. That's one of my favorite subgenres, so I'm really excited about this one. I believe this one is also middle grade, but this is a middle grade horror and it's a graphic novel, kind of. So I'm excited about this. This is Thornhill. This is another newer edition and I'm very intrigued. I love this cover, this like matte 3-dimensional cover. Another oldie is The Puzzling World of Winston Brain. I know basically nothing about this, but it seems like some sort of puzzle or mystery. I love a book with puzzles in it. I love puzzles. That's kind of what a lot of the other Blue Bellier books are about, are kind of puzzle solving. So hopefully it's just fun, and I believe this fulfills prompt for something that required puzzle in the name, so that's fun. And then yet another oldie is the oldie. It's like, this is, according to me, the first book I ever added to my digital TBR that I still haven't read. So like, if you sort by oldest, this is what comes up for me. Now I did add like a lot of books in the same day, so it might not technically be accurate, but this is Flora and Ulysses Illuminated Adventures by Kate Camillo. I love Kate Camillo. I've read a lot of her books, but I haven't read this one for no good reason. But yeah, it's middle grade. It does have some illustrations in it, which I think should be fun. There's some, and it's not very long. So this is on a challenge to read the oldest book on my digital TBR. We got 2 more bonuses, which are not middle grade, I don't think. This I just picked up because I saw it. It's a graphic novel version or comic version of Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, adapted by Peter Cooper. So I thought that may be fun for the gala where you get extra points for each book you finish. And another graphic novel one, Roman, which my friend recommended maybe 6 months ago. And it's just like a kind of day in the life of these teens, I think. And it seemed really sweet and cool, and so I wanted to pick it up. So yeah, that's my haul. Okay, top priorities for today. I want to try a chapter of a lot of these. Probably we'll start with these guys because they're much older on the TBR. I'm hoping to just enjoy them all, maybe even finish one today. That would be cool if I could alternate like chores and reading. Yeah, but I'm gonna try a chapter of each of them first, and then in addition to these, I also have a whole other story. So those are probably my top 4 that I'm gonna read a chapter of each of those first and see how they go. Okay, it's been like 10-15 minutes and I've read the first 6 chapters of Illuminated Adventures of Flora and Ulysses because they're very, very short chapters and it's cute. I think I'm gonna save it for next weekend, which is the Gala of Peace or something. It's a weekend in Realmathon where you get extra points for every book that you, I believe, start and finish in that weekend. So I'll restart the book for that weekend because I think this is gonna be a fast read and I'm not super gripped by it right now. But yeah, I am looking forward to eventually reading it. Again, I really do love Kate DiCamillo, although this doesn't seem like her most emotionally resonant book. I'm sure there will be some moments like that later, but yeah, so far so good. I'm gonna put this aside for next weekend. Okay, it has been maybe an hour and a half. I started some laundry, took a shower, hung up the laundry once it was done, And I read the first couple chapters, about 20 pages of The Danger Box, and I'm not loving it. This is by an author that I read from before, and I really liked her other series, but I'm just not quite clicking with this character and the writing style. He is neurodivergent, which I think is some of the maybe inspiration for the writing style, but my brain just does not really want to get with it, and it just feels a little bit less realistic, a little bit more goofy than the last series. But I don't know, I do like that it's set in Michigan. I think that's fun. Her other series is set in Chicago, so she's a Midwestern writer, I suppose. So I don't know, I might try a couple more chapters, maybe get to page 40 and see how I'm feeling then, as maybe more elements of the mystery start to show themselves. It is kind of a slow start so far. Was like kind of a prologue that implied the mystery, but not a lot of the actual contents. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm about to strip my bed and do a second load of laundry with all my like linens. They're not actually linen, but all that, you know, and then have some lunch. And yeah, I might read more of this, or I might try a different one and report back to you on that. Hello, it is now 4 p.m, so like another hour and a half later. The bed has been remade. Second load of laundry is about to be in the dryer. I have read another 40 pages of The Danger Box, and I am gonna DNF it. I'm still not clicking with this character. The mystery still hasn't started. There are a couple things that are kind of hinting at it, but I'm just not really interested, and I just think it's not for me, and that's okay. And I did console myself by going to the Goodreads page for this book and finding a couple other people who were fans of the Chasing Vermeer series who also were not into this book. So I'm just gonna cut my losses here and move on from this one, and that's totally fine. So I'll be back with you at some point, Bluebelly Day, to read The Calder Game, which I'm actually very excited about. I love Alexander Calder. Love art history. Love that squad. I think maybe next I will pick up The Puzzling World of Winston Breen, or A Whole Nother Story. I have started A Whole Nother Story, and I wasn't super into it from like the first 3 pages, but I'm gonna give it an actual decent shot and read 20 to 30 pages. One of those two will be my next one, and I'm gonna finish eating my lunch, and yeah, check in with you then. Hello, it is much later. It is 11:13 p.m. I'm here with a cat. Hello. And I have completely lost steam on this. I did read a couple pages of The Puzzling World of Winston Breen. Wasn't really into it, and then just was doing other things. So we're gonna see if I pick this up tomorrow. I do still have 3, I believe, middle grades to try a chapter of. Thanks for watching today. I will see you soon. Okay, so it has been a couple days. I think I last filmed on Sunday, and it's now Wednesday. Just ended up getting busy, but I really do want to finish this video concept. I think I'm only going to do 2 more books, which one is The Puzzling World of Winston Breen, which I have already started, but I'm not super into it, so I still need to decide if I want to just DNF it in the beginning. And the other one is A Whole Nother Story, which I also already started a teeny bit and was not super into. So I'm gonna give both of these 50-ish pages. I think they're middle grade, so that shouldn't be too long actually. And then I'm gonna come back to you and let you know my thoughts and if I will continue reading them or just DNF them there. So hopefully I will see you with an update within the next hour or so on at least one of these guys. It's a bit later, the sun has fully set, and I have made it to page 52 of The Puzzling World of Winston Breen, and this book is only about 200 pages, so I'm about a quarter of the way through, and I think I'm gonna DNF it. I just don't really care. I don't really relate to these characters at all. The main character is just like a middle grade boy with his middle grade boy friends, and there's these weird characters poking about looking for an inheritance. I'm just not invested. The writing style is very plain. I think the fun thing about this book is that it includes a bunch of puzzles in it. So like if you like doing puzzles, which I do, I don't not like doing puzzles, but they're just not always that interesting. I think maybe if I was a kid and I could like write in it, that would be fun, but I just don't really care. So I'm gonna stop it here and make dinner and then move on to my last book for this video. So I have just finished chapter 1 of A Whole Nother Story. I made it to page 20, and unfortunately this is gonna be another DNF. I think the common thread among some of these is just ones that have been on my TBR for a really long time, so they're not necessarily very recent releases, particularly when like the humor or the narrative voice is just really not working. This one is just It's too kooky. The jokes are not landing for me. I don't think they're funny. I don't think the characters are endearing. I just think they're annoying. And there was also a line about it's like a dad, two brothers, and a daughter or a sister, and there was like a line about how like she has really long beautiful hair, but like she's not a girly girl. She does lots of non-girly girl things like jumping. Anyway, just starting to get on my nerves. So yeah, I will continue my search for middle grade books elsewhere. I'm once again coming to you way later than I thought I would be, and with kind of a different concept for the end of this video. But this video ended up running over the Peace Gala of Peace for Realmathon, so I thought I would just show you everything I read there, because there are some middle grades, there are some of the books, a lot of the books that I showed you that I got from the library earlier, so I thought it might kind of bring this whole thing full circle, so let's get into it. Okay, so first I read Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. I really like Raina Telgemeier. I really enjoyed her autobiographical stuff and her Babysitter's Club stuff. I didn't love Ghosts as much. I just think the story maybe wasn't as well thought out, and I have some issues with the use of a mission as like a fun, cool place to go, because it was not a fun, cool place to be for most of the people that were there. But this one is set in Northern California, in a place really heavily inspired by Half Moon Bay, and this just like made me really want to visit, so I really appreciated that. I thought the landscapes and the environmental details were really great, so I did enjoy it overall. This is a middle grade, by the way. Next, I read Bad Medicine by Christopher Twin. This is a comic, young adult comic, I believe, that's like a collection of kind of campfire horror stories told by these Indigenous teens around a campfire, and I enjoyed it. I'm not super one for comics. I didn't love the art. I don't know, there's not a ton to say. It was interesting, it was cool. I think it had some nice content, nice messaging. Next, I read the second volume of Buddha by Osamu Tezuka. My parents or maybe my brother owned it, which is why I got interested in it. The first volume I was not sure it was going. Now we're actually following Siddhartha, the Buddha character, and I'm not sure if I want to continue on to the next one. I think it's like interesting enough, but I'm not like that into the story. I think there are 8 volumes total, so I know that my library has them all, so I might just keep going here and there when I just want like a nice chunky comic graphic novel thing to read. That's, I know, is going to be interesting, but yeah, I read it. Next, I did circle back around and read the Florian Ulysses, The Illuminated Adventures, as I thought it was not quite as emotionally gripping or heart-wrenching as some of the rest of Kate DiCamillo's work, but it really did have a strong emotional grounding, and it was really sweet, and I am glad I read it. I think it was nice. Now, so slightly correct myself, Goodreads does not say that this book is the actual first book. Still on my TBR, it says it's a little bit later. It's like day 2 of my digital TBR, but Storygraph says it's the first book, so it's way up there, and I'm still gonna count it. I thought this was sweet. I did like the illustrated parts. I thought that was fun. I liked the superhero kind of comic motif, but yeah, not gonna be a top favorite from Kate DiCamillo. Tale of Despero, because Winn-Dixie, this is just not up there with those, but that's okay. Next, I read The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I believe this is the comic that the show was based on. I really enjoyed the show on some level, but on other levels, I was not impressed with the story and where it went. So this was interesting. This is darker than the show, I believe, and like more graphically violent. It was interesting. Maybe I'm just like not a comic person, or I don't know. I enjoyed it, but like I think they only ever made a second volume, and there's not a third one, so, and I think 2/3 of the second volume is like backstory for Salem the cat and Sabrina's dad, so like I don't think the story really goes anywhere, which is one of the tough things about getting into comics, is like, is this story actually gonna turn into anything, or is it just gonna taper off? I had the same issue with a different comic series I read last year. Next, I read Roman. This is, I believe I told you, but it's 3 Canadian students who are in their first year of university who are visiting New York City. I really enjoyed this mostly just for the relationship dynamic between the 3 of them. I thought it felt really realistic. I could really kind of feel that feeling of like changing friendships when you go to college, and the discomfort of kind of being in different relation to each other, and like thinking someone's cool or judging people for being touristy. I don't know, it just felt very real in a way, and I loved the art style. I thought it was really great, and the coloring was all really beautiful, so I definitely want to read more from this. The 2 authors are cousins, and they have made another graphic novel together, so that's on my list now. Second to last, in terms of physical books, I did also read 2 audiobooks, but I'm not going to include them here. I did read this adaptation of The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. This was adapted by Peter Cooper, and I thought it was cool. I thought the illustration style was really interesting. It's got almost like a print, woodblock print looking kind of style. It's really scratchy, and yeah, I haven't read the original Metamorphosis. I'm not sure how much is directly taken from that, but it's kind of an interesting, creepy, weird story, and I enjoyed it. And finally, the last book that I finished for the Gala of Peace was Thornhill. This is a young adult, I believe middle grade or young adult graphic novel that is kind of like The Marvels by Brian Selznick, in that it has two parallel storylines, one that is told in words, in this case it's diary entries, and one that is told in images. I thought the images were really, really beautiful. The story was creepy and also felt like it had that element of like human relationship realness. It's kind of about bullying and grief and loneliness. I'm not sure how I feel about the ending. It's very dark. This book is very dark, but the illustrations are gorgeous and the story is interesting, and I'm glad I picked it up. So just to make it harder on me editing this video, but I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these books. If you want to, I do have a couple more middle grades that I picked up from the library that I haven't gotten to yet and that I am still hoping to read sometime soon, but those are at least 6, I believe, that I tried or read for this video. I definitely want to do more of this kind of trying a couple chapters thing and just getting some books off my TBR. I have a massive digital TBR. I am an omnivorous reader, unfortunately, so very few things are completely not gonna interest me. I want to get through some of them, and I think this was a really cool and fun way to do it. I had a lot of fun during the Gala of Peace, and I'm ready to just like get back into reading some more for the rest of March. So yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!